Guys, I have some great news here. We are giving away 2 HP Tuners MPVI 2s in this month of August. From Fasterproms purchases, we will select 2 people randomly at the end of the month to receive that MPVI 2. Good luck, hope you guys can win. Guys, I've been around speed for all my life. When I was growing up, my dad had a GMC Cyclone, my mom had a GMC Typhoon, so I'm kind of partial to this all-wheel drive thing. But we really wanted to make it kind of a new school thing. We might be using an old body, but we're going to do a lot of new school components that make a lot of power and apply a lot of technology so that you can be able to build this exact same thing. This is going to be your handbook to be able to compete on the highest level, and what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to do that. Guys, today is a fantastic day. We're finally getting an engine for S-10. So we're driving about an hour towards the center of the state, a little place called Auburndale, kind of in between Lakeland and Orlando. And I was on Car-Dash-Part, I looked up an engine, kind of found something that I liked. We arrived at a 2016 Silverado engine. Now this one's got 52,000 miles. It's called an L83, so a 5.3 direct injection motor. Now this 5.3 engine is a very, very capable engine that has direct injection, has variable cam timing, it's got an awesome cylinder head on it. They're really pretty versatile. I mean, I've made a lot of power with them. And you can make upper 400s with heads and cam with this engine. But of course, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to put a set of twin turbos on this thing and really turn it up. So let's go check this thing out. All right, so here we are here. All Pro Auto Parts. Right in Auburndale, I checked out a couple other places. They had a really good selection. And believe it or not, I actually found this motor for 52,000 miles, and it was the cheapest of all the ones they have. They got about 11 or 12 motors. Check them out, they got a lot of stuff in stock, pretty awesome. So guys, I wanted to mention, this 5.3 is more powerful than the old 6.0, so I know everybody's gonna wanna be like, hey, put a bigger motor in there. The new 5.3s make more power than the old 6.0s. The new 6.2s make more power than the old 7.0s. So let's check this thing out. Here's the engine right here. Woo-wee. There she is right there. All right, so we decided for a few extra bucks just to throw in the alternator, the starter, and the PCM. So this is 50 bucks for the PCM and 50 bucks for the alternator and the starter. I mean, you can't even beat that with the stick there. So let's check out some other things real quick here. Let's look at this. Let's look at this guy, see what we got. No oil whatsoever, but at least there's not water, so that's a plus. It looks pretty good. It kind of breaks my heart that the wiring harness was cut. Doug said, hey, if you get a hold of him ahead of time as he's pulling that apart, he could save the harness, and that would be able to save you probably as much as 750 bucks. But check it out, might save you 500 bucks, but whatever it is an awesome deal, and these people are extremely helpful. So check them out, All Pro. Hell yeah. All right, we're gonna see you. Just like that. Got George and I, we are going to pick up an S10 that has the front and rear drive that we need so that we can make our S10 all-wheel drive. So this thing actually had a 350 in it, and we're going to, the guys removed it, it has a bad transmission. So we're going to see what this thing is all about, see if this is the one for us. Guys, this is kind of a sketchy area that we had to go to get this thing, but this is the one. So here we go, let's go check this out.
Oh man, I forgot that.
The dog kisses. Oh, we forgot. Yeah. Had to put the dog kisses. So we got this from this guy. He's like, yeah man, transmission, it'll probably just fall out if we push it down in there. The transmission is just hanging in there, not attached by anything. You can leave the bell housing is broken. It's kind of hilarious. We had to have pulled out 100 and something pounds of trash. Over 100 and something pounds of trash out the back. I mean, there's a particular funk in the bed. We actually met almost the real squirrel. We met like squirrels, we met squirrel's brother cousin. That's what we did. It was like, so this was a V8, and he said it'll turn the tires over. He said it's spin the tires up and down the road.
Why is it so many colors?
I don't know. I mean, it's like the Hulk. Look at it. It's like busting out.
It's
green.
got 3 tones.
It's red. It's red, black, white.
Yeah. This is actually probably a stop sign in a previous life, and we just cut it off, and we're gonna make a bumper out of it. This was a banging deal. It's got 373s, and we have the transfer case. This thing is gonna we'll be able to make this work, or we'll take the bed and the body off, and we'll start chipping away at it tomorrow. So we got a donor truck, guys. This is a $300 truck right here, and we couldn't really find the diff and anything else in the frame for that kind of price. So hell of a good deal, I think. Rear seat delete. What else we got back here? Yeah, it's a front seat delete too. I will say, pushing a flat tire out of somebody's sandy yard is not fun. I think I'm gonna have some soreness. So we're like pushing it, and it's about to run into a car because it's all like cattywampus, and it steers like. He's like, "Why don't we just get out and pick up the bed and move it over?" And I was like, "All right, that sounds like a stupid idea, but let's do it." But freaking, we all picked up the bed and slung it over a couple inches, and
then we picked up the front.
And slung it over too. So it's like, dang, this thing's pretty light. We got 2 trucks. We're gonna make one, and then maybe we'll have a backup as some sort of something or other. Maybe we have a burnout truck for Liam. Who knows?
This ain't it, babe.
You don't think this is it?
This is not it.
This is it. This is. Oh shit! This is.
It's not bolted all the way.
What?
Well, nope.
No, that's just a little out of alignment.
So guys, we're gonna go to the shop tomorrow, and we're gonna tear this thing up, and hopefully we can get this body off this frame and see whatever we got. We're gonna dig in and just see what we find out, because this thing is definitely kind of a bucket. We got to go through it, and we're gonna get everything going right. See you tomorrow. No, you can just let it all go. Let it all go, Cooper.
Oh my!
All right.
This is a bogger right here.
I think this was a stop sign at another point.
Yeah, he stole a stop sign.
And hey, so check out that transmission.
Musty.
It's got a particular funk.
Yeah, the trans is just kind of hanging there.
Yeah.
But that's what you need right there, that transfer case.
The wiring looks perfect.
The hood is fastly secured. You can tell it's like
Oh, buy this from Laz. Look at the color spray paint in there.
that is Laz's color. That is
That
true.
is exactly his color.
So I get to have myself a do as they push.
Yeah.
Not a bad deal.
Stay cool there, Cooper.
Yeah, no, I'll try. Yeah, you're good. Let her rip. Oh, the chair.
It was holding us up.
It definitely was.
It's so much easier to push once you get the wheel chock off. So just note to self there. Ready?
Try it again.
Come on, we're gonna go inside the shop. Turn it hard. Oh my goodness. Cooper, how you doing over there? You sweating too?
Yeah, it is pretty hot out here.
Oh man. This thing, we're gonna start to tear this down, and we got some awesome parts of what we wanted to share with you. So, Georgie, you ready to put a cam in here? Rip the heads off, start porting, throwing some aluminum shavings in the air. Now, Laz has been sitting on this old girl right here. I say old girl. In fact, his, what has it got, 17,000 miles?
10,000.
10,000.
2018.
We can tell that my engine is the older, dirtier one with a little bit more miles, and yours is the newer, fresh
I don't
one.
want you like swapping
There,
stuff.
it might happen. If we notice here, I have the truck exhaust manifolds. Laz has the ZL1 exhaust manifolds. If you guys remember when we had mocked up our S-10 video, and if you haven't seen that video, check it out. We had a good layout of what we were trying to do and what our target goal is to either A, look like, or B, what we want to be able to accomplish in the packaging of this whole thing. So we had used that manifold and flipped it upside down and re-welded it, and then we used another manifold, but things have changed a little bit. George, we were talking about moving the engine back, and now we have these guys right here. So this particular motor plate is what we're going to do. That's our front and our mid plate, and that should be able to keep us from having to run a trans mount. Is that right? I believe that's correct.
No, I mean, considering we're doing the transfer case and everything, we definitely
Oh,
need a
shoot,
transfer
yeah.
too.
We're gonna have a lot more weight there.
The turbo 350 or something on there would be good without it. We do need to factor in the thickness of the motor plate with the clutch setup for the transmission.
Yeah, that's right. So that is exactly the point. Since we're using a 5.3, it has a different crankshaft than a 6.2, and this is LT specific. Okay, so guys, this is an L83 engine, as you can see right there.
That was a whole another scenario. Is we have a motor plate, and you got to factor in the thickness of that for the clutch setup for the bell housing to go up to the motor.
Right.
But then, just because it's a 5.3, we don't have a pilot bearing.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. So no pilot bearing hole.
So
And
we have to
gotta
get an adapter for that to be able to keep the pilot bearing in there. Then we also have to run a little bit of thickness because of that. So if you do try to bolt up a T56 or TR6060 straight to an LT53, you can cause some severe damage.
A while ago, I was doing some research on this because I had a customer that had run a 5.3 and I was like absolutely in love with it. I was like, this is a great engine, but it'd be really awesome to have a manual behind it rather than an auto. And I found a thread on LS1 Tech, and this guy was like, hey, if anybody else is doing this, this is a problem. I think he had ended up pushing his crank forward and hurting it, and basically, taking out the thrust bearings. Everybody knows the power potential of an LS-based 5.3. I mean, guys, I've had guys make 800, 900, and well into the 1100s on stock bottom ends. Now, this is a little bit different of an engine that has some pros and cons. Now, we do have some plans. What we're going to try and do is we are going to file fit the rings. We don't want to have any sort of issue like we had on Uncle Sam, where basically our ring got closed, tore the top off the piston. The power potential of these engines is greater than the LS. They do have oil squirters in them. They have a superior flowing cylinder head between the variable cam phasing and the fact of the direct injection. This is an absolutely amazing motor. I've done a bunch of vets that have made over 1,000 wheel on stock bottom end with the 6.2, but guys, if we can make 850 wheel with a manual trans, all-wheel drive, oh man, I seriously get freaking goosebumps. Just like I can visualize myself ripping up and down the road with just an amazing amount of traction. I got a tiny little taste of it just with the Duramax, but that thing's 7,500 pounds. Let's do this thing with like 3,500 pounds and freaking really kick some butt. Guys, we're so thankful for Monster Clutches to be able to support this project. We're so stoked. This thing is definitely going to come together really, really nicely, especially with the really nice components right here. Nice. That is a good looker.
I like this green thing going on.
Yeah, well, you got a thing for green. Green hat, green everything, green toolbox, yeah. Green, all over green Jeep. That is very nice.
No, it's triple.
That's a triple disc. Oh, sick.
Look at all three of them right there.
Oh,
1, 2, 3.
Indeed. Very, very nice. And that is really, really a nice product for sure. I love the reliefs of a weight right there.
Handles.
I'm sure you could use it for that. That is definitely a nice piece. Well, let's get to the transmission. There she is, going to RPM. Can't wait to get this thing back. So this thing's getting the Corvette main shaft and the adapter so that we can run this thing in all-wheel drive. So guys, right here, this is the quintessential piece that puts this all together. This part is from LOJ Conversions up in New Jersey. They made this part to adapt the TR6060 to the all-wheel drive Trailblazer SS transfer case. Dude, that is a super beefy. That is nice. That is really, really nice. He's like, oh, this is a prototype. It might not come out so great. Dude, it looks fantastic. Look at that. I love the stickers on there. That's awesome, man. So, guys, this is the transmission out of Leroy, and you can see the obvious differences. Now, this has a different front bell housing. This is the bell housing we are going to use, but the main body of the trans. So this part of the case is the same, and then we have our obvious differences of the rear of the trans.
Tail housing on the Corvette trans, they have to adapt it to the differential.
Right.
And that's what's given us the option of adapting a two-wheel drive TR6060 to a transfer case, which is awesome.
Yeah, okay, you said it better.
This isn't just for an S-10 build. This could be put in a Camaro or a Monte Carlo or anything.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, guys, you got to check out LOJ's video on that. They give you the breakdown on all of the do's and don'ts and what the parts that it takes exactly. Our transmission just got shipped up to RPM, as you saw a little bit earlier, and that will be coming back to us in a couple of weeks. I can't wait for that. All right, so Laz is more in the know on some of these parts right here. Transmission that we had also had a bad, I think it was an input shaft bearing because some oiling issue or something like that. So anyhow, RPM is rebuilding the trans, getting everything good to go. But Laz, give us the breakdown on what they're doing exactly to the best of your knowledge.
The Corvette output shaft is the same spline count as the transfer case. So it being extended to go through the adapter and into that differential is going to work out perfect because it can go through this one and into that.
Now, guys, let's get into the exciting stuff here about making some freaking power. All right, so we got a number of things to discuss. Now, these two pretty girls right here, I cannot wait to try those guys out. They are going to look pretty good sitting up right there. We just got to design our exhaust manifold.
I mean, isn't that pretty?
Yeah. So we got our drains, we got a couple of other parts from Vibrant and all that. Guys, Brisk plugs, this is something that we use on all our direct injection engines, and this is the part number that we'd recommend is an RR12S. Please bear with us, it's raining hard and we got big nasty thunderstorms outside. So the RR12S will keep us from spark knocking at a very, very aggressive rate. We should be able to make up to 1,000 horsepower on those plugs, no problem. And fuel injector connection really hooked us up with these injectors. All right, so these right here are LT4 injectors, and this is what it's gonna take in order to be able to get the fuel that we need. Now, there's kind of 3 different aspects to this whole fueling system here on these motors right here.
What are the stock injectors?
Okay, so the stock injectors on the 5.3s on the trucks are the lowest. Okay, so you have the 5.3s, there's basically 3 levels to that. You got your 96 pounders right there, and then on the Vets, the base model Vet, the 6.2, naturally aspirated, has about 120 pound an hour injectors, and then these injectors, that fuel injector connection, hooked us up with 140 pound an hour injectors. That's definitely good, but we have to be able to have enough pump behind that in order to be able to support that. Now, we haven't picked out exactly what we're gonna do. Maybe like a 20-gallon fuel cell. Probably, we're trying to keep this really, really budget. We might do like
Triple pump with a...
maybe like a triple 450 pump with a boost reference regulator. We definitely want to have 2 on at all the times, and then maybe 1 come on under 7 pounds of boost or something like that. But we do want to be able to run, you know, a good blend of E. So guys, if you do get into a direct injection motor, do check out Fuel Injector Connection. Have some awesome products. We use them on all of our other stuff. And in fact, they really hooked us up with our Caprice build, and that is coming up very, very shortly as well. So we're going to be in way too deep, way too fast with 2 major builds at the same time. So
glad I took vacation first.
Yeah. Guys, a while ago, I did have a C7 Z06. I had full intentions of putting twin turbos on it, and I had a bunch of parts sitting there laying around, and I think we even got the camshaft for it, and I had the cold side for it. And stuff happens, you know, as they say, so life happens. We did just find this camshaft on the shelf. It's been sitting there, so this is going to be the perfect camshaft for what we want to do. It might be just a shade large for that size motor. It was really designed for a 6.2, but hey, we're gonna freaking send it. Now the next thing, in order to be able to support this camshaft and the RPMs of what we want to do,
Friends at Johnson.
Our friends at Johnson, man, they really did hook it up. This is going to be able to allow us to spin the extra RPMs that we want to be able to spin in order to make that work. Now, we have a lot of really good experiences with them, and they really are, they got the market cornered.
Show them the link bars.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, I forgot these are the link bars. Yeah, these are sick,
And
man.
the awesome thing about link bars is you're not relying on that plastic LS lifter tray.
Yeah. Man, I feel like I almost dropped that right there. That would have sucked. We're going to see what kind of RPM we can really get this 5.3 to turn. It would be really nice to be somewhere beyond 7,000 would be pretty nice. All right, so whenever you guys are putting a camshaft in a Gen 5 engine, you have the option of running a cam phase limiter or a lockout. For naturally aspirated, I really like keeping the cam phase limiter in there so that instead of the cam moving around, I believe it's somewhere in excess of about 50 degrees I've seen in some stock tunes. You can limit that to somewhere, what is it, about 12, 15 degrees or something like that? No, I don't recall what the cam, how much it limits it, but it does limit it a lot more because your piston to valve clearance is certainly lessened by putting a larger camshaft with more lift and more duration in there. What I like about it naturally aspirated is it still does make more torque than a cam that is not being moved around. Now, the fact that we are forcing this air down its throat with 2 hair dryers, that does change things a little bit. So I'm all for the most torque, but at the same time, I almost feel like we're going to have so much torque burn, we don't need all that necessarily. I mean, we can have, I think we're going to have excellent drivability. I don't think we're going to have anything to really worry about that. I need top end, so we're going to have plenty of bottom end, and we'll be able to put it down.
You're talking to the right pair of guys.
Yeah, let's get the top end. Let's really make this thing rev and make some good power in that area. So the turbos, let them do their job, and if we can get those guys to spool fast, which is going to lead us to how we are going to design this turbo kit. We're going to be tackling that in the next couple of videos, but stay tuned, this is going to be a hell of a lot of fun. Okay, so while we're looking at this, we have a vacuum pump. This is a factory vacuum pump right there. I got an idea about maybe trying to overdrive it a little bit more, but we need to be able to see how much vacuum that thing actually generates. Now, if you guys have been watching for a while, you know that my wife's Escalade, the Porcopotamus, has an LT4 supercharger on a 6.2 liter engine. Now, Laz here, he's been collecting some parts for a little while, and there we have a LT4 blower. Laz is really looking forward to doing this on his Jeep project, and that is going to be something that we're going to be tackling sometime a little bit later this year.
No, but while we got yours torn down, we're doing the heads and everything. This is going to be getting heads and cam real similar, just a little bit more oriented towards bottom end torque and reliability. We're not setting this to total kill. We're going to tone it down a little bit.
All kill all the time. All right, so we wanted to show you guys some obvious differences of the first things that we really encounter here. So again, these are both truck motors. Like we said, this is the Corvette intake manifold or the Camaro intake manifold, but we're using the truck accessories right now. Now, we were talking to ICT and a couple other people. We don't know what bracket or what, everything we're going to run for alternator, power steering, all that other junk. We don't know exactly what we're going to do. But once we bolt this intake manifold on, we do have contact here. I don't see that as a problem. I think we can make that a nice relief, make that work, and or notch the bracket, and this intake manifold will work. We also would have to modify the foam. There's kind of this foam insert on the bottom side of the valley. So we had some contact right in about this region, and again, super easy fix with that. I think that would work.
Some people would just want to throw this away. Now, you tell them about the Mylar experience.
So guys, we do a lot of porting, and George handles pretty much 99% of the porting right now, and you have a lot of experience with the Mylar. What we do with that is we kind of stick that underneath the intake manifold, and it knocks off a lot of heat. So anytime, this right here is not only a sound deadener, but it's also kind of limits some of the heat transfer from the valley to the bottom of the intake. Furthermore, on top of that, what we do is we stick some Mylar in there, and that is, it is the thermal barrel that's used in the HVAC industry, and I've had some customers independently test that, and they seem to believe that it does help about 100-degree heat transfer. Okay, so let's look at the height of these. That is the Corvette intake, and again, obviously the Corvette and the Camaro packaging has less space. The truck at the same area has a bit higher intake manifold, somewhere in the neighborhood of, I'd say, 3.5 inches or so. It's significantly higher. Now, this is a longer runner intake. If you guys are staying naturally aspirated and you have the hood clearance, stick with that manifold. That will make more bottom end and mid-range torque. This thing is certainly designed to make a little bit more peak power, but because we're going to be doing turboing, I'd like to test that boosted, that manifold, and that manifold. It'd be a really cool test to find out. So let us know if you guys want to see that later on. Let's see what we got inside this engine here. Friends don't let friends drive stock. Okay, to my knowledge, all Gen 5 engines have the displacement on demand, so that means that the 4 cylinders shut off. This is 1 and 7 on this side, and on this side it is 4 and 6. We got to block off where the oil passageways would be going. We have some plugs that go in there, and that keeps any oil from kind of getting out. It's gonna deadhead right in there. But I mean, everything looks really good for the age. Yes, there we go. Thank you, George. So those get pushed right into there, and little dunk dunk, and we're done. Well, we did cover a lot of ground from where we got the frame and where we got the engine. We're going to be able to give you guys a cost breakdown on all of this stuff as we go. But tomorrow, we've got JSM Machine and Fabrication coming in, and they're going to completely set up the suspension. We're going to strip this thing down to bare bones and start rebuilding it from the ground up. Look forward to seeing you guys. Come back and check us out on the next episode. God bless you. We'll see you next time.